future year of 2009, competition is tough. As a leader gang, you must control the area and earn the most blurb. This is Neon Guards coming up.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Today we are talking about Neon Guards. We are going to start with the overview of the game and we're gonna finishing up with our thoughts for the game. Tarrant, take it to the table.
Yeah, so this is Neon Gods is a game that has a variety of scenarios that you can set up. So the board gets set up in several different ways. This is your most basic two-player setup. And fundamentally, this is a game that combines deck building, almost forced deck building, with onboard tactics. And so that's something that we've seen before, but as we'll sort of go through, this does this in some pretty nice ways. And so at the start of the game, each player has 6 figures on the board, and essentially always have 1 figure for every card in your deck. So as you build up your deck, you'll get more figures to move around and control the board. I think you start the game with 2 cards, but then on each turn, you automatically draw 1. Then you can stay there. Yeah. You can choose to draw another one, or you can buy one of the recruits from this row. Recruits will cost 0, 1, 3, or 5, depending on how long they've been there.
Let's say you recruit that, pay 1.
You could recruit that and pay 1. These would slide. Then you can move. So each time you move, you can move up to 3 spaces around the board. And so you get to do 2 moves in this particular thing. So I could move them both there. Yep. Then you get 3 card actions. And this is where the deck building really meets with what's happening on the board. So you could play, well, with your 3 card actions, you can either draw more cards, giving you, I think that's a possibility of 5 cards drawn per round if you want.
Oh, you need to discard up, down to 5.
You will need to discard down to 5, but yes, you could draw up to 5 cards, and then you can, or your other ways are to play the cards and do the actions that are shown here. So like this guy can sell goods, she draws more cards.
And ignoring the dice for now.
Yep. Yeah. You've got ones who will earn you money, so you would just take money from the supply for those sorts of cards.
Yep.
Some who will let you move your figures around even more, and so on. And then you finish with battle. So this is an area control or an area influence sort of game.
You can't actually do 3.
Yes. You can't do 3. You can only have 2 of your figures in an area. Fundamentally it's an area control sort of game. And you can fight against the other players, or Andy, the onboard.
Let's say I've got that. Yeah.
So you do something like that. You would resolve all the battles, and when you resolve a battle, you still need cards in your hand. So you play the cards into the battle. They each show you a number of dice. Your opponent would, if they had any cards in hand, play those cards and also get to roll dice. You would roll them. You would see who. You would add the hits to the number of your people in or adjacent to that area, and whoever had the most hits would win and could send their opponents
back to the base.
So that's sort of a quick rundown of all the actions. The other major thing you're doing out on the board, in addition to killing each other, is building. And so there's various different types of buildings in the game. You can build watchtowers, which will help you defend a certain location.
For example, if you play with this guard, and then you get 1 money, and then you build 2 things.
Yep.
So let's say you build that, costs you 3 money, you pay to the bank, and you build where you are.
You can build watchtowers, so that'll help you defend. You've got monuments, which will score you more points if they're on the board. So they make a space more valuable. And then you've got factories, where you can produce goods. And there's a separate action to sell those goods, which will give you money based on how far from base you are. So all these sorts of things go together, but ultimately it all comes down to getting the cards that suit your strategy, spreading out over the board, building buildings that are worth either points or money, which you can exchange for points, and then defending it. And you need to do that with a limited number of actions per turn.
It's very tight.
It's very tight because you need to hold
Cards.
cards back for when you're attacked.
Yeah.
Because you need those cards to get the dice to
Absolutely.
defend. But then if you're using the dice for battle, you're not using them for building and selling. And
There's also the event card. So when this
There's
comes
events.
out, you can still buy and then you do the events and then put back in there. So it's like it's kind of like a game breaking rules, like remove tunnel token. This actually connects, so if you want to go there, 1, 2, 3, considered adjacent, for example. Well, you don't want to go there because you prefer just go there, but you want to go to the further one as one of the strategy, maybe, and build a factory and sell goods because that's quite far from you, because I believe that's how you count it. It's counted.
Yep. The game is played over 9 rounds. After each third round, you stop and you score the board as it's laid up, which is why it's a tactical area control game. You can score your points in round 3 and then maybe spread out and not worry if some of your places get taken. You get points directly when you win battles, so that's got a tactical element to it as well. And then, after 9 rounds, there's an end-game scoring for certain types of structures, and then whoever's got the most points wins. So that's... And then the other thing to say about this game is there are a lot of different scenarios.
That's right. And
These tiles
yeah.
here kind of, they shrink the board at lower player counts. You can go through them, but you can't build on them. And there are various different setups for those. These skyscrapers that are worth points, where the game enemies are. So there's lots of different setups for different styles of game.
I like the different setup. Different setups also means that there's special rules for different scenarios, which we haven't actually explored that much, but that adds a variety of the tactical or strategy that you can employ each game.
Yeah.
It is, I really like deck building game, and this is a unique combination of deck building game and kind of like sort of area control-ish there, but there's a limit of 2 per square, which is, I think that's good. And I mean, you can, when you want to battle, you can just like expand, and then your teammates adjacent or orthogonally adjacent to you could help you.
Yeah, it does count to that. I think for me, I do really like the way this game is put together. I think if you look back at the history of deck building and how it's been integrated with on-board sorts of games, because there's a little bit more of that these days. You know, when Tyrants of the Underdark came out, it was probably one of the first, certainly the first I was aware of, and I think it was one of the trailblazers in doing what is very much a Dominion-style deck builder with an on-board area control element to the game. What this has done, and I think there's a couple of other games similar to it. I know Plunderbund was a little bit like this.
Yes.
It simplifies the dominionness of the deck building style. So instead of getting a card that has a whole lot of text describing its effect, really here you're building your deck with simple icons that drive your strategy, whether they're icons that let you move more to help you battle, or cards with more dice, or whether they are cards with more building or selling if you want to play a money game. So you spend your what's it called, deck building, which is, as I say, it's almost a forced deck building because there's usually some pretty cheap ones there. You don't have to have the $4 or $5 in a hand like you do in a Dominion style, Tyrants of the Underdark style deck.
We forgot to mention how, well, you did mention it, that when you get this, the number of cards on your hand is basically the number of people. So you just, when you recruit somebody, and then you just add more figurines to the board, which is over there, right there. I can't reach it right now. More
just figures.
Start on the base, like see if, here for example. Sorry, I was like trying to get you to it, but then it's like
Yeah, so I think for For me, I like the fact that it's neat. It's tactical, so you can score after round 3 and then go and do something else. It's simple because you're drafting these icons and there's only 5 or 6 of them in the game.
Right, yes.
And it's quick playing and you go around and earn your points, and there's, it's got the dice rolling where you make your luck to some extent. So it really is a compact, simple little game that actually blends these two mechanics quite well.
I found that at times though, I can't decide whether I want to play the card as, want to keep it as the battle card, or do I want to keep it as something to do with, building. And it's good combo if I build and then sell it straight away and get the money straight away, because these buildings doesn't belong to any particular player.
True.
Like Tarrant can just swap in and then sell the thing.
You can come and barge me off, defeat me in a battle, and then you'll be in control of that
for endgame, or for mid-game or endgame points.
Yeah.
But I can still sell this as well. And then therefore recruiting the right card at the right moment helps your action, because this goes to your hand rather than the discard pile.
Yeah.
So that really helps with that luck.
Yeah,
and as well.
Yeah, and the whole the hand management side of things, and whether you spend actions or draw cards.
Yes.
It's something that I know I've seen in some of the Martin Wallace card-driven battle games like Wildlands and things like that as well. I mean, overall, for me personally, area control is not
your majority, the thing that you would automatically go to.
Yeah, and I'm actually reviewing this game. I'm appreciating how well it's put together without it actually being my sort of game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to appeal to everybody.
Yeah,
but
fair.
I think for what it's intending to be, it is really neatly put together.
Yeah. Well, I know that I'm not big at area control, but this is not the biggest area it's got the deck building, which I really like, and the fact that there's a limit on how many Meeple can be in a place. It's kind of like limit the area control part of it. That'll always resolve at the end of the game, and that's
round.
Yeah, round, sorry. There are other games that a bit area control-ish, but I really enjoy it, like Rise of Tribes, because there's that dice kind of like unique placement thing. So
yeah, it's tactical rather than strategic. You don't have to hunker down for a whole game, and your game's not over if you get swept out of a location.
Because the attacker only, gets one victory point or blood point in this case.
Yeah, you get one direct point, and then whatever benefits come with that space.
So should you play? If you like deck building and area control, it's probably definitely for you. If you like me, I like area control, and it's sort of like has some, area control, deck building, and area control part is also a good, neat little game because of this simplicity that it offers.
Yep.
But then there's also a variety of scenarios and rules.
Yes. Yep, some scenarios will favour buildings, some will favour more battles.
Yes.
There might be more AI enemies on the board.
And that can be added. And there's tokens that we haven't actually bring up earlier, which is the old tokens. So yeah, it's more rules for that.
Yep. It's in the sort of neo-noir type of what's it called? Theme?
Yeah.
Makes the board very bright. Whether that's for you or not, we're not going to
should you play
really comment there, but
you decide for yourself. Hopefully you enjoy that, and if you somewhat enjoy that, if you can please hit that like button, that will help us, and subscribe to us if you haven't already done so. I'm also on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow me there if you like, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Bye!